Recording is
All
on.
right. Thank you so much, and for being here. We are so excited to host you. We appreciate you being here. Thank you for your time. Thank you for joining us all the way from Malta. Uh, we are excited to hear about the work you're doing in Malta, as well as your awesome work with CodePink. I'm sure many of you will recognize Anne from many of the CodePink work. I'm sure all of you are following CodePink for a long time now. So thank you for being here. We are looking forward to learning from you. So over to you.
Well, thank you. It's a pleasure to be with you. It turns out I'm not in Malta. Since
Oh,
Malta, I've been in London to Istanbul, back to London, and right now I'm in New York City. I've just come
okay.
in from a mobilization for Palestine at one of the graduations of Columbia University students, and I'm here. I've been speaking at the People's Forum and other places. It's been a busy month, and it started out, as you mentioned, in Malta with the Gaza Freedom Flotilla Coalition, where we gathered over 40 people from 22 countries who were going to be going on to a ship called the Conscience of the World, on the genocide that's going on, the Israeli genocide in Gaza. And as you probably know, on the morning of May 2nd, right after midnight, the Israeli government bombed our ship. It sent two explosives, and we still don't know quite what they were, but we're pretty sure that they were delivered by drones that probably came out of a Israeli C-130 aircraft that had flown all the way from Israel, circled around Malta for 2 hours, and then the explosion on our ship happened. It was it's the first time we've had anything quite like that happen since 2010, 15 years ago, when in the month of May, the Israeli government boarded the Marvi Marmara ship and killed 9 activists outright, wounded 50, and one of the 50 subsequently died. So 15 years ago, we had 10 people that were killed by Israeli commandos in this flotilla that had 7 ships in it. I was on a ship that was right next to the Marvi Marmara, which was first attacked. Then all of the other 6 ships were attacked by Israeli commandos, blowing out windows, blowing out everything, assaulting people, tasering them, um, scrubbing their faces in the glass that had broken from the windows, and tying us up, arresting us, taking us to Israel against our will, of course, um, stealing our boats, putting us in prison, and then deporting us. And since then, we've had, well, a total of 35 ships that have sailed to attempt to break the Israeli illegal naval blockade of Gaza. And now, with the genocide going on, it's not only to break the naval, but the land and air blockade of Gaza and try to stop the genocide that Israel and the complicity of the United States and most of the Western countries have been participating in. So on the morning of May 2nd, our boat was bombed. We did not attempt to put the 40 passengers or participants on the boat because it had been rendered inoperable by the bombs. But also, the previous afternoon, we had been informed. The captain of the ship and the owner of the ship had been informed that the country of Palau, who had given the flag to the ship, or not given, it's sold the flag and held the certification of the ship, that certification and the flag had been revoked, and with no reason given. It was on a holiday in Malta, and our a shipping agent that was to provide the transportation, the small vessels to go out to the Conscience, which was 14 miles offshore in international waters. The shipping agent said, I don't know what's going on here, but I've never gotten so many phone calls about taking passengers or participants out to a ship, particularly on a holiday, and particularly from very high up people, saying you cannot let those You cannot transport those people. So, as it turns out, there was an international conspiracy led by the United States and the state of Israel to stop the Conscience and stop the sailing of the Conscience. And it resulted in a violent explosive being placed, shot into our vessel. The first time we've had that happen, and particularly in international waters, right off a European country. So the Israeli government, of course, has been acting with no accountability on the genocide that's going on in Gaza that has now claimed probably hundreds of thousands of lives, 55,000 that we know of, but there are tens of thousands under the rubble. And the starvation that's going on now, with the estimate that 14,000 kids are going to starve to death in the next week. So our little boat, which is a symbol, it's, it doesn't carry enough medical or food or any of that to really make a difference. But it's the fact that the civil society is trying to do something where our governments won't do anything. The U.S. continues to provide weapons to Israel, and while the Trump administration, in its first days in office, did succeed in getting a 30-day ceasefire where food and medicines were able to get in, but subsequently they've done really nothing to hold back the Israeli genocide that's going on, the destruction of infrastructure, the destruction of residential units, so that it's making Gaza unlivable for the 1.8 million probably that are still alive. The U.S. is, we understand from media, is making contact with various countries to include Somalia, Sudan, Libya, Egypt, to see if they won't take Palestinians. And so Donald Trump will have his idea of making a Riviera out of Gaza become a reality, and that's for the people of Israel, really. With that said, the Conscience, the crew, there were 6 non-crew members that were on board the vessel when the attack happened. They were all Turkish citizens. They were first taken off the ship at the orders, really, of the Turkish government and the Maltese government. Then the crew of 12, which were 7 Azerbaijanis and 5 Turks, were still on the vessel as the crew, to make sure that others didn't board the ship unless it was an authorized boarding of it, and that the ship was not derelict by having no crew on it. Subsequently, a surveyor that we checked out very carefully from Malta to make sure he wasn't an Israeli agent coming on board, has written a report. He came on board the 5th of March, and his report was given to the government of Malta on the 6th, and we were only given a copy of it on the 19th of May. The report identifies that there was an explosive object coming from outside the vessel, and that's important because some of the very first reports, and of course coming out of Israel, was that we bombed our own boat, that we exploded from the inside. The boat has been towed now to a place we are not disclosing. We do have 2 other, and that's for repair of the vessel. We do have 2 other boats that we have made public that will be sailing in the near future, because we're not about to stop trying to put pressure on on governments throughout the Mediterranean, saying you need to be doing something, and to countries in the Arab world saying you can't just stop. You just can't give them free hand. I mean, at least boycott, put sanctions on Israel. There are nonviolent methods that you can use to really put pressure on the Israeli government to stop the genocide and stop the ethnic cleansing in the West Bank. Just yesterday, finally, the Canadians, UK, and French issued a statement that should have been issued a year and a half ago, about that it is unacceptable for Israel to be doing to Gaza what it is doing to Gaza. And they cite the starvation, they cite bombings of universities, of medical facilities, all of this, things that everybody's been watching for the last year and a half. So their pious statement yesterday comes way too late to prevent the killing of tens of thousands of Palestinians. So that's what I've been doing from Malta, and then finally, when we had done everything we could in Malta, and other people had come in to actually do the professional work with the Conscience ship, I flew to London and had been invited several months ago to be a speaker at the Oxford Union debates. The Oxford University every Thursday has debates, which are quite well known for the people that come to speak and the types of topics that are picked. And the debate is held every Thursday night, and Oxford students come in to listen to it, and then they vote on whether or not the resolution that is up for debate. And for the Oxford Union, it was whether weapons merchants should be liable for war crimes. And of course, my side of it was hell yes. And then there were others, two other people that were um, um, arguing that that they really shouldn't. That it's the countries, the nations that use the weapons, and it's not the fault of the manufacturers of these killing weapons that they're actually used in that way. So that was one debate. And then 1 week later, I had received an invitation to do the Cambridge Union debate. So in a 1 week period, I was really honored to be asked to speak at both of those rather prestigious, internationally known debate opportunities. And for the Cambridge debate, the motion was uh, what let's see, how'd they term it? This House regrets Western interference in the Middle East. Since I resigned from the U.S. Diplomatic Corps 22 years ago on exactly that, on the U.S. decision to wage war on Iraq, that was one of the reasons that I was invited to be one of the speakers. And interestingly enough, on the other side of saying we should not regret Western intervention in the Middle East was a UK retired ambassador who had been the ambassador to Iraq, to Saudi Arabia, to Lebanon, and to, let's see, Lebanon. And there was one other country. So he was up to his eyeballs in, in the Western interference into the Middle East for a 20-year period. I proudly say that the students in Cambridge voted overwhelmingly 2-1 that Western interference is a bad thing in the Middle East. So that was one of the events. And then I was also, since I was in London, I was asked to speak at the big march and rally that was held on Saturday in London, where anywhere from, the estimates are 400,000 to 600,000 people turned out in London as a part of the Nakba commemoration. And I know all over the world, and here in the United States, there were all sorts of marches and rallies and conferences that were held on that. All of this to say, there's a lot of activity all over the world that's going on in solidarity with Palestine in this midst of the genocide of Gaza and the ethnic cleansing of the West Bank. All of that said, we are not making a heck of a lot of dent, in particularly here in the United States, in getting the Trump administration to do much more than what the Biden administration did, which is just the continuing to give weapons to Israel to kill Palestinians. On the CodePink side of it, I've missed being in Washington and participating with CodePink every single day in the halls of Congress. And I don't know if you saw the videos from yesterday's hearing in the Senate, where Secretary of State Marco Rubio a former U.S. senator himself, was really taken over the coals by a couple of the senators, particularly Chris Van Hollen from Maryland, about what the Trump administration and Marco Rubio as the representative, as the Secretary of State, are doing on a variety of issues. Chris Van Hollen went after Marco Rubio on immigration, sending of people to the prisons in El Salvador, and a variety of things. And then another one of the senators, Jackie Rosen from Nevada, told Marco Rubio that she said, you know, I don't even recognize you for what you are not the same person that was in the Senate. You are a very, very different person. The policies that you're representing are horrible, and I don't know how you can go home at night and face your wife and your children. So that was a really good personal statement from somebody that had served in the Senate with Rubio. And his pitiful commentary that I didn't see the whole thing, but I did see the part where three good friends of mine disrupted and got arrested. That they, one woman, Kathy Gannett, that lives down in Puerto Rico on Vieques Island, which has been severely bombed by the U.S. over the years. Kathy came up for the second time during this genocide, and she really did a great job of in a very loud, round voice going after old Rubio, and she continued her essay and oration all through the halls and outside, and then back inside as she was being handcuffed the whole way. They can handcuff her hands, but they can't handcuff her mouth, and she really gave them a what for. And then we had a young Palestinian guy. Well, he's not Palestinian. He's let's see, what is Ahmed? Anyway, so he was the second one that got up, and the cops were watching him like a hawk anyway, and he barely got up and started talking to Rubio before you could see a cop just lambast him, and he was slammed to the ground. And in his statement a little bit later, he said, "I was so sorry because there was a woman reporter that was standing next to me, and she got slammed down to the ground too." So anyway, CodePink, Women for Peace, and other groups are relentless in going into these congressional hearings because that's really the only chance we have to address eye to eye, so to speak, these policymakers. And, you know, you get arrested, you have to go to court and all that stuff, but it serves its purpose in terms of being a historical record on video that people were standing up to what first the Biden administration was doing, and now the Trump administration. So if you have a chance to get to Washington at any time, CodePink and other groups are in the halls of Congress 5 days a week, and we always have a specific thing that we're going around to offices to ask the offices to get their congressperson or senator to do. So it's a good educational thing for us to go, because we have laid out some specific issue for every single day that we're trying to get the Congress people to work on. It's a lot of work to put all these things together, but we have all learned so much, and now we know the halls of Congress so well that we can recognize Congress people from behind, and we know you can see them from behind, and you also can tell really if they're a congressperson if they've turned around, taken a quick glance, and then start running. Then you know that's a congressperson that does not want to be confronted by CodePink. But when those who can run, and I'm 78, almost 79, I don't run anymore. I strategically place myself in a hallway and can point out, here comes another one, here comes another one, and let those that still can run go after them. And as they talk to these Congress people and say, why are you for a genocide? Are you really for killing kids? And, all the questions you could ask them, and the horrific, horrific statements that these people will give. And we record them and then can send them to their constituents in in the states that they are from, to show how mean and evil so many people that we have in our Congress are. So that's a quick rundown on some of the things that we've been doing recently. And why don't I stop? And if there are questions or comments, I will just say one more thing. Tomorrow here in New York City will be the beginning of another fast, a hunger strike for Gaza, and organized by Veterans for Peace as one of the primary organizers. But there are many organizations that have signed on to it. What we're trying to do is to get people to commit to doing as many days as one can do at keeping their caloric intake to 250 calories or less, which is about what they're estimating that people in Gaza are living on, and to be able to talk to your local media, your radio stations, your TV stations, the newspapers, and write articles that can go up online on why you're doing this, why you are having a fast for Palestine. So we hope that people that are a part of our meeting today will consider that and add that to the list of the many things that I know all of you all are already doing. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Anne. That was just, that was so much amazing, selfless stuff. You know, I've been following you and Medea and team for a long time, and I remember it was for a long time it was just you and her, but now you have a whole team of people. And I remember videos of Medea from 10 years ago, 12 years ago, where she would be wearing her classic pink, just doing everything all on her own. And now there's a whole, team, amazing, large team of people behind you. And really, we need all the people we can get. And it's just I'm in awe about everything you said. So we have a couple of questions. So Karina was first, and then I'll go after her. Karina, please.
Thank you, and thanks again, Anne, for coming. It's great to see you on the screen instead of in person. I don't know if I missed this or if you kind of alluded to it, but yesterday I saw on Instagram that there's now by land, sea, and air, it's a coalition between Freedom Flotilla, the March to Gaza, and the Overland Convoy to break the siege. And I didn't see anything on the Freedom Flotilla page yet about that. And I didn't know if you could speak to that. I find it fascinating, and I wish I could participate in the land piece. But I find it incredibly intriguing and important. And I don't know if that's what you were alluding to when you said 2 of the ships are going to be sailing again soon, because that march to Gaza is supposed to take place in just, I think, 2 or 3 weeks from now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thanks for bringing it up, Karina. There are actually 3 separate initiatives to do land convoys or land marches to try to get the Rafah border opened up. And those are independent things from the Gaza flotilla. We encourage them, we endorse them, but we're not involved in the organization of them at all. What I was referring to, we have 2 more ships that we will be sailing, and that's part of the Gaza flotilla aspect of it. But the 2 other or the 3 other land convoys are, and it's a little unclear quite where and how these are going to work. One of them is called the diplomatic convoy, and that's asking particularly diplomats and government officials from countries to join together and challenge really the Egyptian government, which has not been helpful at all in letting anybody go over to the Rafah border, the 6 hours from Cairo to get to the Rafah border. Although there was an Italian delegation that just this week was able to take 25 people to Rafah, and you may have seen it on Democracy Now! There were pictures of them standing at the gates that we all have been to many, many times before. I actually thought that the gates had been blown up by the Israelis, but they were still standing there. So at least there has been one delegation of Italian academics, members of parliament, and others that have gotten there, that the government of Egypt has allowed to go there, which is a good sign. Now, the march to Gaza that Salman just put up, just a note, um, I'm not sure if that one is starting, if people are flying into Egypt and then will be walking from there or try to get permission to walk at least out of the city of Cairo um, or not. And then there's another one that is supposedly coming from Tunisia, which is a land convoy, would be by car, truck, whatever, uh, to come into Egypt and then get permission uh, to go over to the Rafah border. Now let's see. Maybe Salman, you put this up. You want to uh, go over what you understand this the March to Gaza is?
Yeah, so I was aware that there were at least two initiatives, so I didn't know there were three. And so one of them, the they will be speaking to us next week, so we will learn from them next week. And so I've shared their Instagram and TikTok account. So as of a few days ago, when my last communication with them, they have not set a date for when they will be doing this march, but they will be determining it soon. They're aiming for mid-June. And then, you know, uh, basically that's pretty much all the details I know, and we'll hopefully learn more from them directly in 7 days as well.
Mm-hmm. Great. Well, and we all wish everyone the very best of luck of convincing the Egyptian authorities to allow the group to go. But just the fact that you're flying into Egypt and publicizing the fact that people are coming in, that you want to do that, and even if you don't get to, the fact that you've made the effort to go is very, very important. I tried to be a part of the group, which in November, either November or December of 2023, was planning to go to Gaza. It was one of the very first ones and made up mostly of U.S. citizens. Um, I was already in Istanbul at a meeting of the Gaza Flotilla, so they contacted me and said, would you just fly from Istanbul to Egypt and meet us there? And so I did. And unfortunately, the Egyptian immigration people seem to have better record keeping than I thought they would have, because I was not allowed to come into the country. And when this young man, after 6 hours of waiting of what's going on, finally this young man came back and said, well, I'm sorry to tell you, but on this piece of paper that the people in downtown Cairo have sent to us at the airport, it says you cannot enter the country. And I said, well, I'm 77 years old. Do I look like I'm a threat to the national security of Egypt? And he went, no, ma'am, no, you certainly don't. And I said, well, what did they say on this piece of paper? And he looked at it, he said, well, they didn't really say anything. Marked the box, and there was a little bit of, um, well, I was surprised that they kept the records from 10 years before, because in 2014, we did have a little bit of a dust up with the Egyptian authorities, and that was when we were bringing 100 international women from 30 countries through Cairo to go to Gaza as a part of International Women's Day. And 20 of us had already come in to Egypt. We got there a couple of days early and were at a hotel when the 80 of them arrived on the same day, and Egyptian authorities would not let them come into the country. So they had a sit down in various parts of the airport, to include the immigration arrivals area and Some of them were not even allowed to come down to immigration. They were kept up in the area right after you get off the airplane. And can't go to Gaza. We said, but we've had people that have been working with your government for months on this thing. Why can't we do this? Well, you just can't do it. Well, so those of us that were already in a hotel called up one of the TV stations, still one of the kind of independent ones, and explained what was happening. Then we got a visit from the police, the Cairo police, saying, you in this hotel have to leave. You have to leave the country right now. And we said, no, you've already let us in. We're not leaving. And they said, well, you've got to leave at least Cairo. You've got to get out of town. And the cop said, if you don't, I'm going to get fired. So go somewhere. And so the 20 of us went to Luxor and then stayed the length of time until our tickets were, for the onward passage. All of this to say that if you've ever had a run-in with the Egyptian police or Interpol in any way, you probably are not going to get out of the airport in Cairo, because they definitely are doing a lot of checking over time. And I think I hear that may be a call that I've got coming in from one of the Gaza flotilla. Let me just take that, and then I will just tell them I'll call them back.
No, please take your time. That's obviously most important. Take your time, please.
Okay, just a minute. I'll see if I can find where. Oh, okay, it stopped. Okay, next question.
Can I jump in? Can I jump in?
Yes, please go ahead.
Okay, Anne, we met at the Palestine House of Freedom for the Mother's Day. I was in the line behind you and we chatted. And I can't tell you how much I respect your work and the work of everyone that's connected with you. And I know some of them and interacted with some of them. But what I really want to say is we got to start taking direct action and not do anything where we need anyone's permission. And these stories, we all have potentially endless stories of how authorities threw monkey wrenches into what we were trying to do and then ruined our plans. And then we talked for too long about all the nasty things they did. What I want to start hearing is, in my initiative, and this is, let's say, my point of view, are things that individuals can do, direct action. They don't need anybody's input, anybody's stuff, and it can be replicated across the world, right? So a hunger strike is like that. Hey, Joe over in Kansas is doing a hunger strike. Go, Joe. Who can stop him? Joe. Nobody. Okay? The other thing, I'm on a hunger strike, okay? It's just happening, and I'm not going to be spending all my time telling everybody it's happening. They can figure it out. Because in the meantime, I'm trying to start another initiative, which is cruising for Gaza. Okay, get in your car, take some kids' face paint messages on your car. My recommendation is on the driver's side, say something about your local community. On your hood, say something about Washington. And on the passenger side, say something about Gaza. It could be an image. And just start driving up and down College Boulevard and ask your friends to join you. So you're getting the message out. You're not being corralled by LinkedIn. Hopefully, half the community will join, and there'll be just a traffic jam every single day on College Boulevard, or whatever the corresponding boulevard is in your city and town. If you don't have enough of come down to Wilmington. Let's bring a million cars to Wilmington and just clog this city so that they know that we're paying attention. Now, as far as writing to people, I've done that for months. I've done that for years. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. And I have the proof of it, and I've shared the proof of it with everyone on the Worldwide Palestine Solidarity, the emails that I first started sending out to the FBI, and then forwarded to the city council, then forwarded to the county, then forwarded to the state. Already there's 75 people on this email train. I forwarded to 100, 150 people in my community that I've collected cards. When I was a videographer, I got 0 replies, okay? But the people are aware that there's an issue. And in that email, I expected to get 0 replies because I've been sending emails for years and never getting a reply. But they have those emails, and in them, I was very concentrated and very succinct of saying, this is the Constitution and what it says about arresting congressmen, because there's a myth out there that congressmen can't be arrested. They can if it involves treason, a felony, and insurrection. Well, war crimes, Title 18 U.S. Code, Section 2441, or genocide, Section 1091, are felonies. So I connected all the dots for the legal people, and that was months ago. So that's there. Now I'm in my car cruising for Gaza, and on the side of the car, it just happens to say, where is war criminal Rouser? The Democrats started an attack campaign against Rouser. They called it Indivisible Wilmington under Act Blue. They listed all their complaints against Rouser, but they left off war crimes. Of course, they always do. I emailed them, I messaged them, I let them know war crimes are part of that list. Now on my car, when I'm driving around Wilmington, and I've declared myself homeless, and I'm living out of my car, and sending this message everywhere, and even while I'm parked, people are seeing it. It doesn't say, where is Rouser, which is this national campaign that got featured on Rachel Maddow. It says, where is war criminal Rouser? And then people are going to start putting together, how come on that list, where is Rouser from Indivisible Washington Act Blue, it doesn't say anything about war crimes? Well, we live in a country that's run and infested with 2 criminal organizations. One's called the Republican Party, the other's called the Democrat Party. Why are they're all reliant and all using war crimes and genocide as part of their, for lack of a better term, business model. It's racketeering.
Yeah.
Use the RICO Act.
I think you're
so
right.
forth
I
and
think
so
you're
on.
right, Ted. I think
You
you're
just
right.
got to do it.
There are so many different things that you can be doing,
And stop.
and certainly the cruising for Gaza is a great example of it.
Yeah, just stop waiting.
There are a
Stop
lot of
waiting for
really,
somebody
really
else
good
to do
things that I
something
think
or
that you can be
spinning.
doing.
You got to get out there until
Yeah.
these people feel economic pain, and these people start getting complaints, and then the people are. I was listening to the radio the other day, a week ago, and they were talking. The radio was 20 minutes. The nightmare of the lines at the DMV because of the new ID.
Yeah.
Oh, blah, blah.
Ted, let me interrupt you just for 1 minute. I have to go on to another call in about 3 minutes. So let's let anybody else that has a comment, but I certainly appreciate very, very much what you're doing, and keep after it. Go get them. Thank you.
Yeah, I was talking to the other people in the
Any
group.
other questions or comments that you have for me, because I'm going to have to get off in just a few minutes. Thank you.
One quick burning question I had is, you won the second debate. What about the first one?
Well, our little side won the second one. It was much closer, though, which kind of shocked me in a way. The legal argument that it's actually not the fault of the people that make the terrible weapons, but only the people that use them, got many more votes than I thought would. But we still won. We barely won, but we still won from our side. I'll also mention I was in Istanbul, Turkey. I flew from London to Istanbul to be a part of a big rally that was held there for the returning Turkish citizens that have been on the Conscience. And that always is very impressive. You know, over 4 million Turkish citizens contributed donated funds to purchase that boat and another big boat that actually was not, that we thought we were going to be able to use last year at this time, but the Turkish government would not release either one of the boats then. So the Turkish people have really been very, very supportive, even though their government is kind of talks out of both sides of their mouth. They say they have sanctions on Israel, but then fuel flows through Turkey onto Israel that fuels the jets that bomb Gaza.
So I don't see anybody's hand up, but one other question is like, how can we, people, we could have people from UK, Canada, and other parts of the world, US obviously. How can we help with either of your initiatives, the Conscious and the CodePink?
Well, the Gaza Flotilla has a Canadian Boat to Gaza component of it. If you go on freedomflotilla.org, you'll see all of the 12 national campaigns that make up the coalition for the Freedom Flotilla. We have what's called the U.S. Boats to Gaza, which is our U.S. component of it. So letting us know of your interest, we can put you on a newsletter that we have. And of course, donations are always helpful because that's how we buy the vessels that we use. It's an expensive endeavor. We get, some people say, well, you're wasting your money. You haven't gotten any boats in since 2008. So why don't you just spend the money and try to get it directly into Gaza? We've asked colleagues and organizations we work with there if that's what they would want us to do. And they have consistently come back and said, it's so important that we have, this symbol, the little boat trying to get to Gaza is really important for the people of Gaza. And at times when we notify that we're on the way, there will be people that will be standing out at the quay walls, although most of them are busted now by the Israelis. We've had kids that would make beautiful, beautiful designs of welcome on the beaches and send us pictures of them. So it is a symbol of international citizen activism for Gaza. Working with the freedomflotilla.org, and then codepink.org always is the website for both of these are very, very good, filled with all sorts of information and with activities that are particularly for CodePink, activities all over the United States and at times internationally. And they also give you, ways that you can participate, whether it be with the CodePink Congress, which is a Zoom call with really good speakers every other week. And then we have the CodePink radio show that has a lot of really good speakers and topics, as well as local participation, and then coming to Washington to participate in Congress. So thank you all very, very much. I must excuse myself because I've got to get on to this other call. But good luck to everyone. Keep up the great work. Keep going. As Ted said, decorate your car for Gaza and get out there and drive it around. So thank you again. Thank you.
Thank you so much, and thank you for being here. We appreciate you so much.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. I'm going to stop the recording now.